Is your hydrangea dead or just dormant? How can you tell for sure? If you're new to caring for hydrangeas, you might have a hard time identifying if your hydrangea is dead or it's dormant. I remember the first time growing hydrangeas. I was shocked at how dead they looked in the winter and fall. I just couldn't imagine it looking spectacular when it looked so dead with bare branches. In this video, I'll go through how to differentiate between a dead and a dormant hydrangea and how to revive wilted hydrangeas. First, let's go over the reasons why hydrangeas die. Hydrangeas are generally hardy plants and really difficult to kill. But like any plant, if grown in the wrong condition, it will die. Here are some common reasons why hydrangeas die. Number 1. Not enough water. One of the most common causes of death for hydrangeas is lack of water. Underwatering will result in your hydrangeas drying out and eventually dying. This is especially true if your hydrangea is planted in a sunny location and you don't give it enough water. You'll start to see it look wilted, and the leaves will turn brown and crisp, and it will eventually die. However, don't worry though. Do know that you can try to save wilted hydrangeas. If detected early enough, a good soaking will usually do the trick and cause your hydrangeas to bounce back. Number 2. Too much water. Overwatering can kill your hydrangeas. Like most plants, if you overwater your hydrangea, it will cause root rot, which can kill your hydrangeas. Number 3. Over-pruning. Hydrangeas can die if you over-prune it. Hydrangeas' flower buds for the following year are in the old wood. If you over-prune your hydrangea, you're essentially cutting off the flower buds for next year. If you keep over-pruning your hydrangea, it will eventually die. I've over-pruned my hydrangea once, pruned it way down to the ground one year. It still survived, but my hydrangea did not flower the following year. So know that over-pruning can cause death, but we'll have to over-prune it for several years in order to kill it. Number 4. Too hot. Hydrangeas planted in a full sun location and not watered enough will eventually die. It's not an immediate death, so there is still time to save your hydrangea. I have a hydrangea in full sun location. Whenever I go for an extended vacation or get too busy to water it, it starts to wilt and the leaves turn brown. However, I've always been able to revive it every year. Number 5. Lack of water after transplanting hydrangeas. One of the reasons why hydrangeas die is if you don't give it enough water after transplanting your hydrangea. It's common for newly transplanted hydrangeas to die due to lack of water. Water your newly transplanted hydrangea every other day during the first week, and then eventually decrease watering frequency to 3 times a week. Once the roots have grown and your hydrangea becomes established, you can decrease watering to once a week. It's important to keep up with watering your hydrangeas after transplanting. Number 6. Animals killing your hydrangeas. Garden critters and animals can kill your hydrangeas. For example, I have a groundhog in my garden that killed my hydrangea. The groundhog dug a tunnel under my hydrangea. He probably tore through the hydrangea roots and killed it. And if you have deer in your backyard, they might eat your hydrangeas and kill it. For me, the deer that visits my backyard ignores my hydrangea, so this has never been an issue. But I've heard of some people having trouble with deer. Signs that your hydrangea is dead. If you suspect your hydrangea is dead, there are a few key signs to look for. Number 1. Brittle stems and brown leaves. One of the most obvious signs of a dead hydrangea is brittle brown stems that snap easily when bent. Plus, if you see that the leaves have turned brown and dry, that is usually an obvious indicator that your hydrangea is dead. But if you see even a little green leaf sprout growing at the base of the hydrangea, there's hope. Your hydrangea is alive. If you're not sure, I suggest waiting and hopefully you'll start seeing little green leaves growing. Here's an example of a dead hydrangea. I know it's dead for sure because I have a groundhog in my garden and he dug a hole in the ground under my hydrangea. The groundhog must have tore through the hydrangea's root system and killed my hydrangea. There is no sign of new growth on the hydrangea brand. Number 2. No leaves in the spring and summer. If your hydrangea hasn't grown any leaves, especially in the spring and summer seasons, it may be dead. Healthy hydrangeas will grow new leaves from the base in the spring. Again, don't be too quick in declaring that your hydrangea is dead. With global warming and sometimes unpredictable weather fluctuations, I find that my hydrangeas get confused. One day, the weather can be hot like summer, then the next day can be cool like fall. I think the weather fluctuations can throw your hydrangeas off, so just wait and see. Hopefully, you'll start to see new leaves growing from the base of your hydrangea. I also find that hydrangeas planted in sunnier locations tend to come out of dormancy earlier. Leaves will sprout earlier on the hydrangeas planted in sunnier locations, while the hydrangeas in more shaded locations will grow their leaves later, usually a week or 2 later. I also find that different varieties of hydrangeas will come out of dormancy at different times. I find Annabelle hydrangeas will grow leaves much earlier than the big leaf hydrangeas. Number 3. Looks wilted even after thorough watering. If your hydrangea looks wilted and you gave it a thorough soaking but is still showing no signs of improvement, it's likely your hydrangea is dead. However, give it a few days, even a week or two of watering your hydrangea to see if it will hopefully bounce back. Sadly, it might be time to remove the dead hydrangea and plant a new one if it's truly dead. Signs your hydrangea is dormant but alive. Sometimes what seems like a dead hydrangea is just a dormant one. Here's how to tell. Number 1. Hydrangea has buds. Look closely at your hydrangea stems. If you see little buds, that is a sign that your hydrangea is alive. These buds will eventually sprout little leaves, which is an obvious sign it is just dormant but alive. Be patient and give your hydrangea time to sprout new leaves. Number 2. Flexible stems. It's hard to tell if your hydrangea is dead or alive by just looking at the stem itself. Try snapping the hydrangea stems. Dead hydrangea stems are brittle and will snap easily. Dormant hydrangeas have flexible stems that don't snap when bent. They may be brownish gray and look dry, but if they're bendable, your hydrangea is dormant. Wait for the leaves to sprout. You should start seeing first signs of life with little leaves growing at the base of the hydrangea. How to revive wilted hydrangeas. If your hydrangea is wilted but not dead, there are steps you can take to revive it. Number 1. Water your hydrangea. One of the main reasons for wilted hydrangeas is lack of watering. Fortunately, it's easy to revive wilted hydrangeas. Just give it a thorough soaking, and leaves will bounce back later in the day or the next day. Number 2. Overwatering. Wilted hydrangeas can also be caused by overwatering. It's not as common, but when you see droopy wilted leaves on your hydrangea, it can also be because it's been overwatered. Feel the soil. If it's wet and soggy, and if you know you've overwatered it and it looks wilted, then stop watering it and let the soil dry out. If your hydrangea is in a pot, you can also transplant your hydrangea to a new container with fresh organic soil. Transplanting your overwatered hydrangea can help revive it. Number 3. Too sunny and hot. One of the reasons why hydrangeas look wilted is it's in a location that is too sunny and hot, and you haven't been giving it enough water. Give it a good soaking and that will revive your hydrangea. If you're too busy and don't have time to give your hydrangea enough water, then I suggest you move your hydrangea to a less sunny location. Or else set up an automatic sprinkler so it gets the right amount of water. Given enough water, hydrangeas planted in sunny locations will grow well. In fact, hydrangeas planted in sunny locations will produce more flowers than if it was planted in a shaded location. Your hydrangea may seem dead, especially in late fall or winter, but it's just dormant. Observing the signs and making an informed decision can save your hydrangea from being prematurely uprooted. Hydrangeas are resilient plants. It can bounce back from a wilted state. Know the signs of a dead versus dormant hydrangea. Be patient. Give your hydrangea time to sprout. Want to know how to care for your hydrangea the lazy way? Check out this video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.